Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox Chair, on the show this evening is my mucker Southside, and just wait. Evening, Southside.
Evening, Oxchair. Good to be on the night, Friday night, day before the game tomorrow. Looking forward to the show. Tomorrow evening.
Saturday, 5:30. Oh, mate, I'm sure we'll come to it, yeah?
Aye.
I mean, that's Stevie. That'll be breakfast, lunch and tea before he goes to the game. You know what I mean? This Saturday.
Sure will. Well, man's got to be fed. I give a shout out to William and Stephen. It's in the YouTube channel. I'm sure the rest of the troops will follow in the night, but they two are in the now. Listening to the show.
Yeah, and we've also been joined making his debut at the start of the show. It's the one and only Jim 115. How we doing, James?
Good evening, lads. All right, Ox. How you doing, Southside?
The man knows how to use a mute button. Straight away.
He'll be on a course with Bridge, man. Show him how to do it.
Brilliant. Welcome, Jim.
Same to yourself, guys. Good getting a wee run on this. See what happens.
Aye, mate, you'll be fine.
Forward to the calls in Super 6.
Oh, Super 6. He's having a go at you already, Southside. Just know it.
The man's keen to hear the Super 6 tonight. That's the right with that.
He never said he was keen to hear it, mate. He just mentioned it.
Didn't say he wasn't about either, did he?
Definitely didn't.
Aye, people had a lot more money this Monday than they did the previous Mondays. Anyway, listen, again, I'm all right. And we will touch, let's start on this 5:30 kick-off for Saturday evening. Jim, give your thoughts on it, mate.
Look back in the previous year, but I think they've only lost one game in this mob for a long time. And I think the last manager to actually beat us was actually Neil McCann.
Right, okay, aye. I'm looking forward to the game because I want to keep this feel-good factor going Southside, yeah, if that makes any sense, yeah?
Well, we're on a wee run and away victories in the last few games. It's the next one just so happens to be an away game, and we've made it difficult for ourselves before, but I like to think that we'll go up there and get a job done. Be interesting to see how the system and the sort of style he sets out formation, but looking forward to it. I take it 5:30. I take it's at a Premier Sports shot or something, is it?
Aye, mate. What's your thoughts on it, mate?
Saturday night's no ideal. 5 games are the ideal. Saturdays or Sundays, to be honest, if that would have been the case as well. It's the same as the 12 and half 12 kick-offs. I don't like them either. I know the players don't like them, but it's the world we live in. And once you sort of give out to TV companies to dictate, they get to dictate the kick-off times more or less.
No, I don't think the clubs and i.e. the fans are getting compensated enough with the deals in Scotland to justify the getting messed about the way they were, particularly their support. Quick thoughts on that, Jim?
I guess that's been a few already. Then we've been away at kind of crazy kick-off times, but I think a lot of the boys on the buses actually like 8 times.
Oh, I get that, mate. I understand that, yeah. You got there, you've got more time to relax, yeah?
Aye. I think a couple of times, well, last was it 2 or 3 games ago up there was a bit of a hullabaloo about players and whatever else, but I think we warning across the bows for the club the other day there, and hopefully they'll maybe be heeded. Again, I don't have an issue with them at football, but the authorities, they.
Aye. That's a whole different debate. Southside, obviously, listen, we had the press conference yesterday, and we'll not really know with the starting lineup, but you've had a good run the last few weeks with your teams. You've been pretty spot on most of the time, so I'm going to put you in the spot, Biggie. To start my 11.
Oh, come on. He's already said there was a couple of doubts. We're only, how long are we into this? 6 minutes? 6 minutes?
I'm going to start my 11.
Well, I'll tell you what, we could do maybe 4 or 5 in all right, and then we could give me a bit of thinking time. I think if they're all fit, it's more or less.
Let's assume they're all fit, right? Go for it then.
I would play a back 4. That's what I would play. So I would have Yefty at left back. I would have Suter if he's fit, along with Balogun. Tav at right back. And Butland in goal.
Right.
And Raskin starting.
Right.
And Diamante starting.
Mm-hmm.
Right, can we leave it at that, you know?
No.
Tierney.
Aye. Yeah, Tierney has to start, doesn't he?
Aye, Ignaman Dessers. Am I missing one? Was that 11?
No, that's 4-2-3. You've got one there.
Ignaman Dessers, Tierney. We've got Diamante.
Glenn Barron.
Well, I guess right on the front foot. Probably go with. Okay, we'll find Barron and then we'll find him in the now.
Right,
Might change it later if we want to talk about it later, but maybe change it one.
All right.
Not bad for 6 minutes. Thanks for that.
Don't bother, mate. You've been rehearsing all day, mate.
Aye.
You know, you knew you were coming on for days. Jim, what's your thoughts on what the team will be tomorrow before we be here for our assistant manager?
I'm the same as Southside, but I'm going with your Redvan at left back.
Right.
Proper. Big shooter. Tav. Tierney wide right. Nico Raskin, hopefully. Diamante. And I think he might bring the guy who keeps on disappearing. Is it Barami? Him?
Barjami.
Yeah, Barjami. I think it'll be him. I think Big Dessers will be up top. And what's that? 4. To look for another one in there.
Yeah, you're looking for somebody that's sort of...
Connor Barron, I think. Barron.
Okay, all right. I'll be interested to see what the team is. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do, lads. We'll get a quick interview for the assistant manager. We might even pick up some hints for what he's thinking about. And we'll hear what he's got to say. And then we'll get the phone lines open. Yes?
Aye, sounds like a plan.
Jim?
Right, fire away.
Let's hear for the assistant manager, Neil McCann.
Neil, Dundee against Rangers, what does that fixture mean to you?
Obviously, being a manager of Dundee and managing against Rangers was nice. Played in the fixture loads of times. Been back in at Rangers and going back as a coaching team to Dens will be kind of funny. You know, I don't think it's something that I would have expected. But loved my time at Dundee. Started as a boy, finished a man. Ended up going back there and managing the club for a short time, and I really enjoyed that. And obviously when that ends you get a wee bit bitter and a wee bit angry, and then you self-reflect and actually realise it was a brilliant opportunity just to kind of cut your teeth in management. So yeah, it's a great place to always go back to, Dens.
How tough will it be this weekend?
Very difficult. Got a great result against Dundee United, and they'll be really boosted by that one. I know it's not been easy of late for Dundee, but Tony Dock's done a brilliant job in there, and we've got a rough idea. We've done our homework, and maybe the benefit of doing my previous job allows me to spend a lot of time analysing teams, so we've got a fair idea how they could go, how they played against Dundee United, and all we can do is prepare our guys to go up to Dens and beat the result we got last time. I know drawing up there 1-1 probably be viewed upon as a poor result. Dundee, a good result for them. But we've got to try and get this team going up to Dens and looking to take 3 points.
It's been over a month now since the coaching team has been in. What's changed, or how have you evolved what happens on the training ground?
To be honest, from the outside, I've had lots of people say that they can see changes within. Maybe they see a different style of play in terms of how we maybe have tried to implement how we go forward quickly. We try to penetrate quickly. I think there's a change in adapting our tactics, which Philippe and his coaching team had a certain way of playing, and it was very structured in terms of the formation never really changed that much. The personnel would change within it, but I think the gaffer Fergie has shown that he's adaptable to different opposition, and not different opposition will throw up kind of different battles to face. They'll ask you different questions. We've gone a 3, we've played a 4, we've changed within games, and I think the team have been really receptive to that. It's not easy to throw different shapes at them, particularly because we've not had a great deal of time on the training field, but they've been great and they've been open to the change, and what they've shown is that they can change within a game, and that's really important.
He said he didn't want any yes men, and that's why he brought the likes of you, Billy Dodds, Al McGregor in. How robust has some of the discussions been, and has that been healthy?
I think it absolutely is. Even I worked with Billy at Inverness, and he was exceptional with me, helping me up there, and then he did a brilliant job himself. Got strong opinions of the game, brilliant knowledge of the game. Griggsy is coming in and giving that expertise that he showed as a keeper, but that winning mentality that I think is really important to instill in the keepers when he's training them and how they approach it. And hopefully I can bring a lot of those qualities as well, but we're all strongly opinionated professionals. And I think that's what Fergie was looking for. He was looking to get, if we needed to go up against different opposition, that we would exchange views and would exchange opinions and be able to back them up. But as always, we come together as a coaching team, make the decision how we're going to go, and we set the boys out like that. But with the knowledge that we're not all the same type of people, and we don't all share the same opinion at times, and that's where the adaptability can come in, and hopefully that's reflective in how the games have gone for us.
Just finally, you're the last Dundee manager to beat Rangers. Do you hope that stays the same, that stat, by the end of Saturday night?
I absolutely hope that'll be the same start by the end of the game on Saturday night. It was a funny one because my father had taken really unwell that day, and I didn't think I was going to get to the game because Graham was taking it. But we'd done all the tactics, set up to play against Rangers, and my dad gave me the old get to your work stuff. And it was bittersweet because he was able to see me manage against Rangers, who I spent a great number of years and a really successful time in my career with, and knew how much I loved them as a club, but he knew how much I wanted to beat them as a Dundee manager. And it was brilliant to do that and then get back and see him, and unfortunately that was probably the last night I got to spend with him, so that's the sort of bittersweet thing about it. But yeah, having that record, it's... When I was doing the commentary with Big Crocs the last time, he mentioned it. And sometimes you think, right, you get a wee bit of satisfaction from it, but you think it will go at some point. It can last a wee bit longer. I hope it does last longer. And as I said, I can play a part in hopefully making that last longer.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, thanks for that, Fox. Jim, am I reading that right, that he was having maybe a failed dig at the previous management team, that they weren't flexible enough in this, in moving this, changing this system?
That's what I found very refreshing, because I think it's a problem that a lot of us have had. We come on no changing things, seeing things when they're going along, and I think it's been very, very noticeable that they have been changing things, and it's good what he said there about them. They're no agreeing with things, but they're all having they're all putting their input, which is a good thing. Because one guy, then it becomes too regimental, and that's what we were seeing under Clement, I think.
Right, for sure. Southside, That's the main thing I took at that quick interview there.
I think we've seen it in Clement's time, to be honest, that we weren't really flexible in a lot of things. You might change it sometimes. Sometimes it did look like at times we played a 4-3-3 in some of the games, although it was always like the 4-2-3-1 idea, but there was the odd time when it was like that in games, but not very often. It was rigid and it was a set way and it was like for like, and that's the way it was. And obviously you want to be adaptable. I think the good thing about the three of them, taking McGregor out just because he teaches the goalkeepers, I think the three of them, along with the Moroccan guy, I think they're installing this mental attitude and the physicality of the game, and making sure that we're not getting bullied in games and off the ball, doing the dirty side, the dark arts, as I've spoke about, that the team looked incapable of doing. And even when it gets into later stages of games, I'd like to see us be putting the balls in the corners and killing the game off and not making it as open for opposition. So, aye, and listen, Billy Dodds has had the experience with Inverness Cali. I think he got him to a cup final. McCann's obviously been known watching games a lot of the football. He gets time to analyse it and all that. He's probably watched a lot of Rangers as well, seen what problems that he thought that we were experiencing as a team. And obviously now he's come in with Barry. As Barry was watching, they're just installing it, and it's good that they've got different ideas and we can go into a different formation, because we've got the players there, and it's getting Conor Barron a game now. Because if we'd stuck in the rigid 4-2-3-1, Conor Barron probably wouldn't have been a Rangers team. And I don't think he'd get many game time. Certainly didn't under Clement. And I think going forward, Oxley probably wouldn't have been in the two in there.
I get your point. I'll be honest with you, Jim, it's only my take on it. I think you've got to be flexible in professional sport because it's all about winning. And if something's not working and or if you've set your team up and somebody's costing you a certain area of the park, you've maybe been outnumbered and it's costing you to suffer in a game, you've got to have the cojones and the foresight to change it, mate.
100%. Right, if something's not working, then you've got to change it. But I think we've seen under Clement that he wasn't changing it. Whether he didn't have he didn't have the personnel or whatever, but I think it's worse than McCann there. It was pretty refreshing that when something's not working, then it's getting changed this time. So onwards and upwards, hopefully.
It still might not fix it, Southside, because that's football, you know what I mean? But I think you can give opposition problems yourself. With, if you start up with maybe two up front, for instance, if you like the traditional 4-4-2, you've got two up front and you're on the front foot and you can throw another body up there, left or right, and then if they're playing three at the back, they've got a problem because if one goes, that kind of thing. It's all, if you don't, what's the point of tactics and management if you don't change things?
Yeah. Listen, a lot of players now, you've got to play a style and structure. You can't give the ball away rather than maybe go and come at a man and lose it to the opposition. You check inside and pass it back to keep a hold of the ball. And you're not getting a lot of people making that sort. I think there's a wee bit of freedom took out of some teams. You want players to go and play with a freedom and get the one-on-one with your wingers on, the one-on-one with your defender, where you're expecting them to go and show his creativity and go by him. But I just think nowadays, like you say, they're showing a bit of variety. They're showing the team that we can play in a different style, and it'll be horses for courses. And it's good to see that they're all buying into it at the moment, Ox. That's what we want, and maybe we're scoring goals. So it's just a bit going to Dundee. Listen, Dundee's second bottom of the league. This shouldn't be an issue. They did a good result last week against Dundee United, but apart from that, they were only running about 5 or 6 defeats in a bounce. So we should be able to go up there and just apply ourselves properly. And if we do that and create chances, I think we'll finish the game without any problem.
Oh, you're right. I think we've drew our last 2 games up there. Is that right? I've not checked it. We're top of my head. At the back end of last season, we drew nothing each, and then we've been up once this season and drew. Yeah. So hopefully we can get a performance and go and win the game, Jimmy.
Aye. Well, here's hopefully. They're saying that it's how we attack these games, isn't it? It's good to us.
Aye, attitude, mate. You know,
I'm still a bit worried about the goals we're losing. I thought the 2 goals lost at Celtic were terrible. I.e., him getting a jump on Tam and his name, Big Sterling at the back post. And the other one is, I never got a chance. I don't think you were on Ox when I came on and I brought it up, was your wee pal Hadji diving in out wide. And it allowed him to play inside, and it split young Barron right in the middle, and that's where the ball get put because Hadji dived in instead of holding his position.
but also, if you watch that second goal back, watch what Suter does. It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal where he goes. Yeah, I've watched that a couple of times. You know, and I quite like Big John. But anyway, I take losing 2 goals to them every day of the week. If we get that third one like that with a couple of minutes to go Southside,
these are the days that when you go up there and you get a goal like that and a finish like that at the end, it makes it all worthwhile, you know. And the thing about that was some managers might have took Dessers off that day when he was putting Ignaman on, but the backroom team, Barry and the rest of them, decided to fling Hamza on and play with the 2 up. You know, even in the short space of time when he was bringing them on, he thought we'll play 2 up. Whereas normally you might have seen Dessers come off Ox and it would have been the one player going up the park. So it looked like the management team they were still staying positive, because in these games, you know, in any game that you play, you know you're always going to get a chance near the end or thereabouts. And I thought when it fell to Dessers the first time and he didn't take it, and then obviously Conor Barron had a chance, whereas if he side fits it just into the corner, it's a goal. It's wide open. I thought that when we got the 2 chances, I thought might not get another one now, but we did, and the wee man just finished it with aplomb, did you know? You know.
Aye, but no taking away from Jim's point. There's errors in goals, but there's always errors in goals, isn't there? You know.
Well, aye. I mean, they look at it as, obviously the ball bounces and it falls to Ignaman. He gets a wee sort of bounce off when he tries to cut inside, and so they're going to look at it as a poor goal for them, obviously. And the goals that we've lost, as well as Jim's talking about, I agree. I've seen it back, and Hadji does go diving in, and when he dives in, he leaves a space and allows a runner. You're saying Suter wasn't too clever in it. I'm not sure, but I know we had you diving in and running out of position. It opened up a bit of space
it's where
at the
Suter
time.
goes, mate. If you watch where
right.
he goes, I can't understand it, mate. I've watched that a few times and I'm thinking, what was he doing? Where he went, you know, he went away for the play instead of towards the play, making the space more. I think there was a lot wrong with that goal. I don't deny it, you know. Barron, Hadji, you know, Jeffy, maybe even Butland, and I don't think Butland was particularly great at the first goal, mate. I wasn't happy with the way he moved his foot across the goal, Jim. But then, am I picking holes?
I'm picking holes, but I'm picking holes on Tavernier and Sterling.
Oh,
how
they should have done
he
better
gets,
between
how
them,
he
mate.
gets a run on you two.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's not as if it was a 6'5" centre forward that steamrolled the 2 of them, was it?
No, but he's come in and got a run on him. Somebody's got to be watching him coming in there, because he's a danger man.
What about just standing in front of him, mate? Stopping his run?
Aye. Well, one of the two. He should have been Simon's in between the two. That's my take on it.
Aye. They plays for Stirling in your team tomorrow, Southside, or is he a good sub because he covers a lot of positions?
Listen, I just think Tav's been playing well. I think that I was looking at their team. Don't think they play with an out-and-out winger, to be honest, on the left. Obviously, the boy Simon Murray gets about and sort of drags players about and runs the wide positions and causes a lot of hassle, and he has got a decent goals record in all the clubs he's played at. But I don't think they play with an out-and-out winger. So I thought Tav should be fine if we were playing the back 4. He can get himself forward a bit. But I don't know. It'll depend on what Barry and the rest of the management team think. If they go with the back 3 and go with a 5-2, I don't know. I just thought we might just go to a 4-4-2 away from him to Dundee, but it'll be interesting.
I noticed you never mentioned Hadji, mate. Is he just becoming a bit back player? It looks as if he's off in the summer, doesn't it?
Aye, Hadji's definitely gone. Tom Wall's definitely gone. No, I like Hadji. I've always said I like Hadji. I think he's an intelligent football player. But I just think now we go to the games out the road, as I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, I would like to try and then, if he were making subs, he probably wouldn't be one that'd be coming on. Seen Cortez was in the training video, so I don't know whether him now had a good few games of training, might be getting added to the squad. He done a press conference. He never asked him about Cortez, never asked about Danilo or anybody like that. He just asked who was fit. He said there was a couple of people, but you thought maybe with they two not having very much game time, one of them might have asked the question, how are they in training? Are they close to getting back in the first team or whatever? But they never asked the question as usual.
They should be fit now, mate. I mean, that's another 2 weeks since we played our last game, Jim. You know, should be further down the road now, yeah?
Aye, it was pretty interesting when the minute Ferguson became caretaker manager. It was, what was it, 3 or 4 players were all of a sudden were fit again. See on the Rangers Dundee, the last 6 head to head, it's been 4 wins for Rangers and 2 draws.
Up at Dens Park, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Aye.
1 each and a 0-0.
Aye. Yeah. And that 0-0 was a tough one. That was a real. I think that was actually, looking back, that sort of period there, that was actually the beginning of the end for Philip Clement. That was the beginning of the end, if I'm really honest.
I think that fell in with we just came down for Ross County. Am I right? And that was kind of ended the challenge last season.
It's put us behind the 8 ball when we had it in our own hands. That was the problem, you know. But what's gone's gone, and we have to move on for it. And it's going to be interesting what happens on Saturday, because I'm really intrigued to see, firstly, the personnel and see if there is any difference in the shape, Jim.
Aye, that's what's going to be interesting. It's Dundee. The Neil McCann said I watched them last week 2 weeks ago against Dundee United. I thought they put themselves a boot, and it's going to be interesting to see if we can get in about this mob, because we've seen the last time up there how they were celebrating getting goal kicks and all the rest of it.
Aye, and it'll be interesting to see if Lyle Cameron plays them on our south side there.
Aye, I don't know if he will. He did. I think he didn't play. I think last time he was there, he played at Ibrox, I think. Then before the deal was done, and then obviously didn't play the game after, injured or something. But it would be interesting to see him if he plays. I've not got any problem with it if he plays against us. He's still Dundee's player, but I've got a feeling he'll probably miss out tomorrow or possibly on the bench. It's just my general thought.
All right, come and give us a phone, 0141 356 1972. Give us your thoughts for tomorrow night and tell you tomorrow night, 5:30, how you think it's going to go. You know, obviously it's a league game, and things are starting to build up to, you know, a week on Thursday, south side, isn't it? It's, you know, that's grabbing the thoughts of everybody, because it's a quarter final of a European trophy, and let's be honest, they don't come around every year, do they?
No, they don't. It's something to look forward to. But as the league business is going to be one, you want to try and get a wee bit of momentum since the international break. Aye, get a sort of, and he might stick to a type of system, and he might play the 3-5-2 or whatever, to maybe mould that into whatever sort of system he's going to do against Atletico, and he's probably had them watched and whatever. But I think it's something that's comfortable for the players, although he will change it from time to time. But it's probably just about getting some players back, regular in the team. We know Suter's going to be missing, and you know Diamondi's going to be missing. So that's a huge blow. Diamondi, I thought we missed him at Old Trafford for the amount of work he gets through, and I think we'll probably miss him again at Ibrox for the bit he can do. And Suter, obviously, it's been the mainstay at the back. So We've got a wee bit of change in the home game, and I bet dare say they might have a few suspensions as well. I don't know about Ox, because you know how these yellow cards have been racking up. The amount of players that Steele's second suspension.
I read the thing about that, about how they think it's a crazy rule, and that they weren't all scrubbed at that round, because obviously some teams play an extra round. We didn't, you know what I mean, because we're so successful in Europe. But I thought that was a fair comment, that they've got to look at that, and because of the nature of the competition. Aye, Jim, listen, as you say, we're all a certain vintage, and quarterfinals of European trophies don't come around every season, and hopefully the players can stay fit, we get a bit of luck, and we can look forward to the game a week and well, nearly 2 weeks away now, yeah. But that'll be the focus, unfortunately.
Aye, it's been astonishing, the European record over, possibly since Steven Gerrard came in. I know we got there under Walter, but I always said when I was younger, if I ever seen Rangers in a European final, they could take me away. I've seen two, and possibly last year I think it was at quarterfinals as well. Then now we're going for the quarterfinals again. I'm actually gutted. I'm actually going to be in holding. I'm going to miss the home game.
He got cheap flights to Bilbao, go to Orange, Southside.
Yeah, I'm missing that, Jim. There'll be some atmosphere. There'll be a sellout. I would imagine when the place will be, and I'm sure they'll bring a good support over here for the first game. I would have liked the second game to be back at Ibrox, but we might as well have to go, and we need to try and go on the front foot and put on a good performance. It'll be a hard game, and they're a really good team. But it's the quarterfinals of Europa League, and when you get to this stage, it's usually there's a lot of hard teams left, and obviously they've got it at their own ground should they get to the final, so they'll have a big incentive to stay in the competition. But hopefully we'll probably put on another Thursday night at Ibrox under the lights and get a good result this time, unlike the last time result-wise, but we went through. So looking forward to it when it comes, Ox. It's another big night again at Ibrox. We'll need to be on our best behaviour.
Aye, I'm sure we will, mate. I'm sure we will. I know, man. Listen. We talked about it on Wednesday, and we'll get Jim's take on it. I get it, but the problem with this UEFA body is they're judging jury, mate. That's the problem, rightly or wrongly, and we can debate all that another time, but unfortunately they're judging jury, and we don't want any mishaps. It's going to affect the support getting to watch the team and the club financially, and I don't want everybody, the young boys, we're all young ones, Jim, you know what I mean?
Right. I think I'm in the same kind of mould as yourselves. It's their bother playing me, and it's their rules.
Aye, I don't agree with a lot of it, and I've got my own issues with different things, but that's the crux of it, eh?
Aye, right. And I think we just need to just be careful. Things have been creeping in. Again, I'm no against them, but as I said, it's their bother playing me, and we need to be careful.
Aye. I'm sure we could talk about it all night long, and everybody's got strong opinions on it, but we just want no harm the thing we love, Southside. Yes, that makes sense.
Aye, listen, we know the noise that the generation for the section or the Copeland Road stand, even at times, all the stands. I mean, in European nights, that's the thing. You get people that come in for hospitality, you get people that manage to get a ticket on the night. It's a later kick-off, as everybody usually consumes a few more sherbets, and it's been lively nights on a Thursday night, believe it, at Ibrox, and we've had some really cracking atmospheres. Just go to Box Clever now going forward as a support, and we know that, and that's just what we'll have to do. And I'm sure on the Thursday night when it comes along at Ibrox, it'll be loud and proud as always, and hopefully have a good night with the right result, and then we can see if we can do the damage over there a week later. So that's what we've got to look forward to. A potential semi-final.
Aye, potential. Aye, of course. Of course, but before that, we'll get games to play, and they're important because we want to keep us. I'm not saying performs outstanding, Jim. You know, we've hardly won a game at Ibrox for a couple of months. You know, if we're honest, but we have to. We've shown there's blue shoots there, isn't there? And the way we dominated that first half in there, and the away game in Fenerbahce. You know, we've shown at times we can play and score goals.
That's what's frustrating about this Rangers team. I don't know about yous, but I sat after they gubbed that mob the other week there, and you're looking 13 points. You look at the games, I'm just saying for Christmas, we won 2 of them. We're sitting 7 points behind them, with them still to come here. Puts it possibly down to 4. It's so frustrating. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's how I'm looking at it.
I get it, mate. If you take the St Mirren, the Motherwell and the Hibs game, mate, yeah, just in the Christmas sort of period, you know, the Hibs game were 2-0 up and threw away 2 points. Motherwell, shocking selection for the first half, threw away 2 points. There's 4 and 3 against St Mirren with a dreadful performance because they're messing the team about. There's 7, mate. Taking your point, there's just 7, and then you beat Motherwell or St Mirren at Ibrox without it being ridiculous. I know it's if buts and maybes. There's 10, mate, and you know, and it's so annoying. I get it, and I think that's a lot of the frustration. And a lot of people maybe be proved right Southside and maybe saying we should have got rid of the manager earlier. Now in hindsight, yeah.
Well, maybe it's all ifs and buts. The players at the end of the day are the ones that are responsible for giving a across that white line about getting results, effort, application, attitude. When you pull on that jersey at Glasgow Rangers, and a lot of them didn't have that in them at times, and that's what cost us.
That game in St Mirren, mate, there was no effort or application. It was a shambles.
Aye, and it's not the only squad we've done it. It's done it. You know, we've watched it under previous managers. It's happened with certain of them, but this squad, certainly in certain games, it could be the fact that some of them are new to the club and all, and you give them a benefit. You see how well they're coming in. Yefty, not never been experienced this before. Connor Barnes not been exposed to this amount. He already had a wee spell at Aberdeen and out their team, but generally, when we flung him in at the start, he was well at his depth and he was in trying to do well, and you're trained well. You'll just do this every week. You'll be the outstanding player, and they're going to take tips in for him. Squad had to be built stronger, and it shows that we've had really good results, but at some point the consistency level would drop off somewhere and drop some points, and that's what it's shown. More than I thought we would. A lot more than I thought we would, but we've dropped them, and that's the cost of it, because we've played 3 league games against them and we've beat them twice and they've beat us once. So at the end of the day, it shows you it's the rest of the teams we will have dropped the points. Aberdeen away and all, shouldn't have dropped them at night. So we were because of that, but that's what has to get rectified going forward next season.
Aye, every game's important. The first game of the season, you've got to start, and you know all the mistakes. No, I know it's easy to be wise in hindsight, Jim, innit?
Aye, 100%. You can even fling in the game down at Love Street where they go back in the game, and I think they had one shot in the whole of the second half, and I think it was the last minute, and they scored the goal that won it.
Aye, I know, mate. There's been some bad performances. There's no getting away from it, mate. I think we're quite fair and honest, and we critique the games as we see them, you know, and some of them were poor. And then you've had the good performances, for instance, away in Fenerbahce, gone to that place and scoring 3 goals. Arguably, you know, we could be sitting with 2 trophies. We've had goals chopped off in the Scottish Cup final with the penalty that never gained in the extra time in the final, the last final, you know. So, you know, there is spots and maybes in the negatives and positives, you know, but you just have to get that level of consistency that wins you league titles outside. That's a big thing.
It's about building a squad, and you've got to try and keep the squad, and we've got to start somewhere. We've got something. We've got I heard Albert saying a skeleton to a squad that we've got, and we want to add to it, and you want to keep the sort of core players that you expect to start are showing a bit of form, like Raskin, like Diamondi, like Ignaman. you have to. Suter would still be part of your squad. You try and get Sterling more involved in your squad. You'd want Cortez back, try to be fit and available, see what he's going to offer us going forward. And then you're going to be adding players. You've got Conor Barron who could come in and play, but you want to add more players. We need to have a strong core of about 15, 16 players that the manager knows that if he takes 2 or 3 out, they 2 or 3 can go straight in, and it shouldn't make a bit of difference in the quality levels. And you'll rotate a bit because you want to keep them all happy. But we need a strong core of a squad of 15 players, 16, but you say it doesn't matter what 11 start because they're all good, and we've not got that. But that's what we need to build, and you rely on most of them, and then some will take suspension, some will take injury, and you'll need to bring somebody else that's a wee bit maybe up the pecking order. But that's what we need to build. You need to get a strong core of players, Hawks, in my opinion. I don't know what you think, Jim.
Aye, regarding the boy Cameron coming in. I know he was a Clermont target. I wonder whether it will sit with a new manager coming in. He's the kind of same kind of build and attribute as young, what's his name, Conor Barron. I think it's you say there, but I think we still need a wee bit of physicality in that middle of that park.
I'd be interested. Besides, were you making the point that we're short of bodies and quality there? You know, actually, numbers are first team players.
Aye, first team players. Aye, you will have to build that squad and core up to about 15, 16 players that you know that you'd play to be any part of your first team, and they're all fighting for their positions. You've got to have that. I think really that 16, 15, 16 players. That drives the standards and drives the mentality. But you've got to keep that core, and we've got to start with something. If we sell Rask and sell Yefty in a fire sale, okay, it's good to get money in, but then we're starting again where you're going to have to bring a player in. Okay, he might come in, he might have the experience, and he'll settle in straight away. But we always say we give the foreign player that comes in a bit of time, but when we ask a Scottish boy to go in and play like Conor Barron, he doesn't get time. You'll go, that's all right, we paid £1 million for him or £2 million, he'll settle down, he'll settle in. But when we give the Scottish boy the chance, or a Bailey Rice or any of them Finlay Curtises, if they don't do it straight away, Ross McCausland gets it off. Here, get him out of the team. He's rotten. You know, they don't seem to get the same chances when we bring in a foreign player and he's not playing so well. We seem to think, well, it's all right, he'll come good and he's just taking a bit to settle. But he shouldn't. He's got to start playing as soon as he comes in the door.
No, I don't. I critique them whether Scottish or foreign. Hadji, McCausland, whoever, doesn't matter. I know he's no Scottish. Young Ross, I think if you don't do it, you have to say it. Yeah. But you might say that you should get starts and more chances, but in that particular game, you should be critiqued on your performance. You know, you've got to be honest. Yeah, you cut a bit of slack for inexperience or a boy thrown in, but you know, once you're a professional footballer and you get in the team, you've got a responsibility of the job to do.
Aye.
And you come, so.
Aye, I know, but that's what I'm saying. We're always harsher on the Scottish player that comes in and when they're younger, whereas we're more tolerant to Diamondi. I've said, I like Diamondi as a player. I expect him to have a big season this year. I thought he'd learned to start. He had his 6 months and then it was time to try and kick on.
What about his Maisie at that place?
Aye, outstanding. But like I said, he's been really bad in a lot of league games for us as well. Disappointing. And what I'm saying, if that was a Bailey Rice, Finlay Curtis, or a Ross McCausland maybe playing three bad games in the league and no really playing well, he wouldn't be seen for weeks. You know, but you'll stick with it because you've brought in the foreigner. That's what I'm talking about. They seem to get a bit more leeway than some of the boys that when you bring them in and they get their chance.
Jim?
I'm with Ox on this. There's need to get any leeway with me. Whether they're Scottish or foreign. They're getting it in the heat if they're not producing the goods.
He's want to hit them with bottles. You're getting
No, not at all. No, I wouldn't just throw a water bottle.
Misplaced pass, take that. But listen, I think that's been a constant Southside. It's not a new thing. I agree. Bizarrely.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's always been like that. Normally, we've watched it this season. I mean, Ross McCausland was bad the game. Was it St Mirren? Was it? Did he get whipped off at half time or something? There was a game anyway, and you just thought, right, we need to make subs here, at least one or two. We made one, and you could have probably took off 3 or 4 players, but Ross got whipped off because he's the academy boy that's come into the team. It's the easy option, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. I just think sometimes we expect a lot of the young boys to come in, and when they don't settle in straight away or they're not playing so well, some of the foreign boys that have came in and haven't showed up for lengths of time at Rangers or periods of time, I just think we always give them a wee bit more leniency sometimes as a support.
I was always
I think we're an unforgiving support at times.
Sorry, Jim, missed that, mate.
I think we're an unforgiving support at times.
I think that's fair, mate. I think that's fair, you know. But we can be impatient. Oh yes, myself included, you know. But there has been times, if we're really honest, and this particularly if you just take this season as a whole, with the teams like us doing as well, and they were due every bit of criticism they got, Jim. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I blame the players of that squad more sometimes than I'm blaming the manager. That's my take on it.
And talking about somebody who's had a lot of criticism, which has been deserved, and turned into a hero 2 weeks ago, nearly. Well, 2 weeks ago. Let's hear from Jack Butland and hear what he's got to say.
Jack, how's the last couple of weeks been in terms of just mood around the squad and just reacting to what happened at Celtic Park?
No, it's been a good couple of weeks. The sort of weeks that you expect to have and should have a club like ours. So a really good one, a really positive one, but nothing more than that. Sort of what needs to be expected, and but a very good week nonetheless. Obviously, a lot of the boys now have been away on international duty, and we haven't been together until today. So everyone's back at it. Looking forward to the game on the weekend.
Obviously, with the European thing, there's still plenty to play for this season. How important was that game last week, and just ensuring that the confidence just runs into these games against Athletic Bilbao?
Yeah, look, they're important games. Every game now is, regardless of where we're at domestically or in Europe, these games between the end of the season are an opportunity to give the fans something back, to give the group something to finish the season on a high, and wherever that puts us and takes us. The European games are vitally important, but we still need to finish the season strong. We still need to go into the summer with some real momentum and some real positivity looking forward to next year.
And as much as it was a result you'd all been very pleased with, there's a frustration though that shows you what you can hit when you're at your best. Yeah. It's the results at the other end that have cost you this season. And
yeah, we've had there's lots of things. We've had lots of reasons and excuses and things like that, and there'll be a lot of things to look back on at the end of the year, and as a club and as individuals and as a group to put right ahead of next year. But the best thing you can do with that is do it now. Start trying to build something. Start trying to really nail down a culture and an expectation. But we've spoke about it. I know we've had conversations all season about this consistency, and it's not necessarily always a consistency of performance, but a consistency of what we're about, what we need to be, and how we need to approach every game, which at times hasn't been good enough for some of the games, and it's cost us, and other times we've shown what we're capable of. So that sort of gap between what we've produced and what we don't want to produce is we need to reduce that.
In terms of setting standards, obviously the new management team in, from your own perspective, what Alan McGregor, what has that experience been like for you, just and his expectations of what is required from a Rangers player and a Rangers goalkeeper?
I mean, it's been brilliant. Our relationship has sort of developed over my time here, obviously with Alan retiring, and then a few rounds of golf here and there between him and myself, and we've had a friendship outside of football. So for him to be in here now is really enjoyable. I think he's just as nervous as anybody. He wants to come in and do a great job. But for me, there's no one better to have around, not just because of what he achieved, but he also understands what I might be going through or what it's like as a Rangers player, as a Rangers goalkeeper. So the relationship's a really, really good one. I really enjoy the work together, and it's been really good.
It was said about him as a goalkeeper, he was always like the first guy in. He was so dedicated to his craft. He would come in, make sure he got through his preparation. What's he like as a coach, and what sort of message he's trying to drum through to you?
Very much the same. I think it'd be easy to sit here and he's not trying to change anything. He's trying to work together, and that's what we are. I believe I'm a top goalkeeper, and I hope that he sees that. And for us, it's just about bouncing off each other and just existing and sort of enjoying each other's company, working hard, training hard. A lot of our values sort of align anyway, so that's the sort of the way I am, and that's the way he is, and it's just a relationship that works really well. And I don't think he's needed to really say a great deal. I know what is expected, and having him in your presence and him in around the building can only help that.
It's having his respect big for you. Is having somebody of his stature, his respect for you, is that big?
It's as big as it gets, especially here. You know, I believe I have that. He certainly has my respect. I think that's why we get on well and why we have a good relationship, but also why we both want what's best for the club. So. That's sort of the bottom line of the relationship. We enjoy each other's company, we enjoy working together, and hopefully between now and the season and beyond, whatever it may be, we have some success and we have some good time together.
How's his golf? How's his golf?
Well, we're not playing as much at the minute, we're a bit busy, aren't we? So he's definitely on the golf course a little bit less than he would like, because he's loving this role and he's loving getting stuck in it, and I know he's enjoying it. So we will hopefully get a game in soon when we've got a bit of time.
Do you notice a big difference between the Alan McGregor you know away from football and the one you see on the training pitch?
Not so much. There's still a very charismatic, very determined person. He's sometimes very selective with his words and when he chooses to use them. But you know, he's a fantastic character. That you don't get different characters out of someone like that. He is the way he is. Very genuine, very honest, and yeah, it's had a pleasure to work with.
When you're talking about standards and mentality, is he also speaking to other players, Jack, or is it kind of just the goalkeepers, or is he getting in the heads of the other guys as well?
I think he's very wary of his role and wants to focus on what he's doing, and obviously that comes down to us as goalkeepers, but then set play work and things like that, there's bits that he's involved in as well. But I think he's also very conscious that the manager and the staff they're all doing that, and they're all trying to do everything they can for the team. And Greasy's the same. He's perhaps not doing so much with everybody else, but he's focusing on his role, and if it helps me and it helps us as goalkeepers, it helps everybody.
Right, thanks for that, folks. I mean, there's a guy, and rightly so at times, his criticism, and let's hope he can bounce back, you know, and have a great end to the season. You know, because we've still got big matches to play Southside, but his criticism he had this season, it's been deserved. So,
Aye. I had a chuckle when he said I'm a top goalkeeper, and I thought, well, I'm sure Greasy could still learn you a thing or two, because you're nowhere near the class I am at the moment. But Jack talks well usually. I'd like to think he knows the standards at the club, and it's getting reiterated through Griggsy and the rest of the coaching team that's in there now. But he's had a up and down season for a bit. But in the last couple of games that he's played, he's had some big saves in the games, which we're looking for him to have, especially Fenerbahce away towards the end, and also against them. He had a few saves that was needed at the right time. So his form has sort of changed a wee bit in the last few games. Started to see what we expect from him, and know the rush of the blood to the head stuff that we'd seen a few times, and hopefully he'll continue it and have a good end to the season.
Jim.
I think McGregor's got at him, and I think it's been evident, i.e. in the penalties against Fenerbahce, because see when it went into the penalties, I'm not expecting him to save any here, but I was pleasantly surprised with the way he get down to that one for Fred. Whereas before in these penalty shootouts, and he's had these. When I'm saying, I don't know. To me, that he looked beaten, but he looks as if he's kind of changed his kind of stance in regarding to take the penalties against him.
I don't know Listen, goalkeepers in small margins, you know, and obviously there's a bit of fortune involved, you know, sometimes as well. But listen, Alan McGregor, where he's played and what he done, Colin Stewart, you know, been ways for a long time and maybe worked with McGregor on his own, but he's not getting the experience in the situation and the mental side at the top of the game that Griggs has got. And that sometimes I think that's as important, Jim.
Aye, very important. Again, I've got my views on the goalkeeping coaching. I thought Butland, when he just came in, he was commanding his area. And for some reason, that stopped happening. And I think when McGregor came back in again the second time in a row, McGregor was the same, come out commanding his area and kind of went away back to staying on the line, no coming off it. And I just think it's been noticeable again with the goalkeepers under. I mean, again, I'm no bad mouthing the guy, but I've got my views on him.
Southside?
Aye, I do. I think he was commanding in his area. You need your goalkeeper. He's 6'5", and now and again he has to come out and have a presence. And lately he came out and collected a few balls, cross balls. I think he's no great with his feet at times. Bottom left seems to be a problem. And sometimes he has his mad. He comes out to sort of edge his area. He's come out and exposed himself a bit at times. St Mirren, Motherwell away. And he was pretty suspect in the second half against Motherwell as well. He said he's cost a few goals. Let's not be kidded. And against them and all at the start and in certain games he didn't look too clever. But lately, he's looks like he's back to being with what he was. He needs some big saves and big games, and hopefully he'll continue on. But he's got his weaknesses. But at the moment, maybe Griggs is having an influence. And I was like Jim that night at Ibrox when it went to penalties. I thought, oh, no, he's unlikely to save any here because his record hadn't been very good and he hadn't been close to many. I know he'd saved one. I think he'd saved 3 or something like that in the last wee while. But on the whole, he wasn't getting near a penalty, was he? But certainly that night he came up trumps for us. So I would give him a boost as well because he'd been at fault for a few goals up until then. His performances had been shaky, so I would have given him a lift that night as well. And they obviously playing well against them helped as well. And hopefully he's back to commanding his area and being the Jack Butland we think he could be when we vote him.
Aye, the second penalty save was a great save, Jim.
Aye, fantastic. It put me back to, was it McGregor and the run to Seville? I can't remember who it was that we played. Exact same save at the same corner.
Red Star.
Aye, exact same save.
Aye, that was a great save. It was a great save. As much as we've been critical, you've got to call it as it is. So say it was a great save.
Aye, I was. He's had big moments, you know. It's probably a confidence thing. I think it's good that you're listening to a goalkeeper that's played in that position. When the players are in that dressing room, they're listening to Barry, who's played in there, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds. Can he get any better than that? Listening to their experiences and what it means to play for the club and what's expected and all that. And the demands, and you've got to be at your best at all times. And usually, I mean, Chrissy Woods was the same in all, Jim, if you think back. Remember, he used to come out and command his area and he got that injury. Was it David Dodds or something, wasn't it?
Me and Jim are a lot younger than you, mate.
So you are. Of course you don't. And then Chrissy didn't come out for a good while after that either. Do you remember it? Dented him for coming out. He used to come out and catch a ball all the time, but he was good at that.
He was leaping in his timing, aye. Listen, goalies have got to make decisions, and obviously managers make decisions as well. There'll be managers wanting you to come, there's managers saying no. Let players deal with it and they stay on your line. But I think if you take that individuality and people make the calls and you become robots and then people don't make decisions in that when you can look really rigid in defence, you know. But that's just me. That's the way I see it, Jim.
Aye, 100%. Chris Woods, you're talking about a keeper there. remember that the time he went on the incredible run. He hadn't lost a goal for, I can't remember how long it was, and then came the old Hamilton Ackies, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Adrian Sproat.
Aye.
Yes. Listen, we've reached that time of the evening. If you don't mind, gentlemen, get yourself a mute, because we're going to have a tune.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, thanks for that, gentlemen. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get the second part of the Jack Butland. It's only a couple of minutes. We'll just hear what he's going to say quickly, and then we know everybody's waiting for the Super Six, and then they're all going to phone in and pound Southside, and rightly so, I may add. Right, so once again, get yourself a mute, and we'll hear the rest for Jack Butland.
Coaching staff, obviously, when they first came in, it was games every 3 or 4 days. I imagine there wasn't a lot of time in the training pitch. How productive have the last couple of weeks been? I know some of the guys have been away, but just for the ones that have remained, to have that contact time on the training pitch with the coaching staff.
There's been a hell of a lot of contact. I think from the minute the guys came in, they were very conscious. They were very conscious about getting results. Very conscious about trying to make the environment and the energy right, which they have done. They've come in with big voices, big energy, big characters. When you've got that, it's very easy to follow. It's very easy to follow that standard, to understand who they were, who they are as people, what they were as players. And they've set a real standard for everybody to, and no grey area. What's expected is what's expected, and that's what's demanded all the time. So yeah, it didn't take long. A few of the other lads might have been taken a little bit aback by some of the hair dryers at times, but I guess it's what was needed, and I think the boys have responded really well to it.
It's been a while, Jack, obviously, before your time. The club won away at an Old Firm with fans. Turning that around so quickly after the Fenerbahce game, can you put your finger on something differently that Barry and the staff did differently? Did you have a different feeling going into that game, more belief perhaps than in the past?
Yeah, I think we've been able to do that. We've been able to go Thursday night, probably no more so than that week in particular, Thursday night, extra time and penalties, and then to go there and get the result and put in the performance that we did shows that you're more than capable of it. So that comes with confidence that the group's created, that the manager has created, and the belief was there to go there and not show them respect, not to make it comfortable for them, which perhaps at times we have done. So it's to go and take the game to them. I think we did that. But that comes with confidence, comes in belief in your game plan and what you're doing. But ultimately the performances that we've been putting in of late have been performances with energy and demands and standards, and we've been working there and we've been getting towards a better performance, and we've put a few of those in recently.
Jack, when you're talking about next season and kind of trying to get the momentum to go into next season, is the results and the performances against Celtic kind of tell you guys that maybe the gap isn't as big as maybe some people think, and it's maybe not going to take a huge amount to kind of close it?
No, it's going to take a bit. You know, we need to work, we need to improve on some of the things that, you know, we've spoke about. So I'm sure there will be things discussed. I'm sure a lot of it has been the belief side of it. I guess a lot of it has been inconsistency of performance. We need to get that back. So with all the things that have gone on this season, we haven't been able to put together a real period of time of being dominant, being successful and winning games. We haven't done it enough this year. We did it last year for large parts, and we need to get back to that. So the last part of this season is very much about winning as many games as we can. The target is obviously to win all of them. Yes, beat Celtic again at home is obviously going to be something else. But we need to keep winning, and we need to finish the season on a high. Whatever gap people want to put there and reasons why, go ahead. But we don't believe that there is a big gap. You know, as the league sits, there's a gap that we need to close, and we need to do that between now and the end of the season.
Ronnie?
Just as a player, Jack, expanding on that kind of week that you had, where it was you and then it was the Old Firm win, you spoke of the belief. What did that do for the belief of a squad that, you know, has been knocked down a few times this season? Just can you expand on just how big of a week that felt for the club?
No, it's a huge one, but it's one we've had similar weeks to that. We've had similar feelings like that throughout certainly my time here and before that. Believe in doing it. It's, you know, different things. You know, we need to do it very regular, but it's also something that's expected at this club. So we can't get too carried away with that week being what it is. It's now about beating Dundee on the weekend, and that's as simple as that. If you don't do that, then the week is almost irrelevant. You know, so it's back to business now. Yes, we've enjoyed that week. Boys have been away on international. We need to come back fit and raring to go. We need to win the game on Saturday. And then we just move on, look ahead.
Robert, last one, please.
Jack, how do you analyse your own season? You've made some mistakes, as everyone has, but you've had some great performances as well. How would you describe where you've been at?
Yeah, look, it's been a difficult one purely because of where we're at as a team. As I've spoke about, yes, there's been moments I would have liked to have done better. Sometimes you get away with them, sometimes you don't. But I know there's been big moments in there. I know there's been big performances in there that have helped us. But my only focus now, look, I want to be here, I want to be successful here, is to finish the season strong with the competitions that we're in and the games that are coming ahead, and just finish as well as we can. Things can always be better, they can always be a lot worse, but for me, I'm looking ahead, I'm looking forward, I'm confident, belief in myself and belief in the group, and looking forward to the end of the season.
Aye, I would say he's maybe slightly in the negative this year, Jack Butland, if you were scoring them, if I'm being honest. If I'm being really honest. You know, I'm thinking back to Kilmarnock away, I'm thinking back their place, one of the goals, and the boy puts in, and that performance there, even the kick out in the last game, it started the first goal, St Mirren away. I think he's more in the negative than positive, but hopefully he's turned the corner. Jim?
Aye, well, you're not as good as the last game, as they say, ain't you? So let's just wait and see what happens, Will.
Talks cheap, Southside.
On his defence, we've had a lot of different defenders in front of him. which
But you seen the cry is no defenders.
well, it certainly was at one point, wasn't it? But you can level at him. But I look at it as he's an experienced goalkeeper, and he should be marshalling his defence. But
Aberdeen
remember,
I just thought of the second goal up there and all.
I went through his legs.
Aye.
But I just think for all the goalkeepers I've watched growing up, when you look at the top goalkeepers, and we're looking at him as when he came as being a decent goalkeeper, and if he stays if he'd stayed a length of time, we'd judge him then and how good he was. But for me, he's got the experience. He's been at the club long enough now, and it used to be that the goalie didn't get tested much, and it's when he pulled a save or two during the game in 90 minutes. But lately, our goalkeeper's been used a lot more than that in recent games, and he's been culpable for quite a few goals that we've lost and where we are in the league, and points trapped and cost us in games. But his form started to turn round again, and Aubert, when he was on, put a good defence up from when he was on the guy and talked about it, and the points that he raised that night, talking about shots for distance and that, and Jack Butland's pretty good at that. If you look at his last few performances, it was the shots for distance where he saved the ball and put it round the post and whatnot. So hoping going forward, as we've seen, there's been an upturn in form, and we're hoping he'll continue on at the end of the season. And if he's here next year, well, we'll see.
So if you're saying there's an upturn in form with him, what do you think is the difference then? What aspect? Defence, midfield, forwards? Where is the upturn came from under the interim manager? Or is there no one in your opinion? What you're thinking?
I think the upturns since I've come in, I just think it's about getting the whole attitude of the players, to get the mentality of who they're playing for, where they are. I think Raskin, has showed up well in the games, and I think when he had the probably captaincy for a wee bit and then come back to Tav, I think that probably gave him a wee G up. And I think listening to somebody like Barry and Neil McCann that's there and listening to them probably helps him. So I think midfield wise, I think we've looked pretty good. I think Diamante's had an upturn for him as well. I think probably the system's suiting him a wee bit better, getting more out of him. So I think there's just been a positive influence over the club. But I think it's basically just setting out what it means to be here, understanding it. You're no tired. I mean, Giant Sports Science would have been saying to them before that game against them across the city that one or two might have been on the red zone after 120 minutes, and they're saying, well, it doesn't matter, does it? He's playing on Sunday. There's nobody tired. They say that. If anybody says they're tired, they'll not be playing. So installing that mental attitude into them, that there's no excuses here. These are the demands, and this is what happens when you play at this club.
Jim?
I would say putting the Rangers into them. Same as what Southside was saying there. Me putting a bit where it's all about to play for Rangers. But again, they should have known that anyway. They should have known that. But they look as if they're a wee bit happier, maybe.
I hope you mean by putting the Rangers into them is the same thing as you mean by putting the Celtic into them. Anyway, we'll leave that at that. Anyway, I get you, mate. Just what it means. It's important that your attitude, mate. It's just attitude, isn't it?
100%, and that's what's probably been wrong with that team over maybe the last 3 months. Attitude stinking again due to the players.
A question then for you two gentlemen. I know that Alex Ray was there, and Alex has handled himself pretty decently since he left the club. And a couple of articles I've read. Don't know the guy personally, but I've met him a couple of times. But however, is that they've come in? I mean, Ferguson, Dodds, McCann, McGregor. They're all Scottish, mate. Is it important that we've maybe got that identity? We're going to have to look at that going forward as well, because it is important. Jim?
Well, what have we got on the park? One, Conor Barron. I think it is needed at a club like Rangers that they need to know.
Right, I get it. Jim? John, sorry, Southside?
Aye, so Barron and Suter. No, but you probably need that core identity in your squad. Listen, we've played with loads of nationalities in our squad before, but you've still got a few of the core Scottish players in there. It usually tries to tell them what it is about to play for the club. But one thing I laughed at slightly when I heard Butland's interview was when he mentioned the hairdryer. And I just thought, aye, that's exactly what a few of them needed. And as he said, I think a few of them were a bit shocked by it. Well, that's life, innit? So obviously that had...
Are you saying to me that people deserve the hairdryer if they don't perform? Is that what you're saying?
Listen, people deserve to be spoken to. And when you're in a football environment, you're in a dressing room and it's all men that's in there, and you're all meant to be pulling the standards. And if you're slacking, then you deserve to get told off. Okay, maybe in this world, you don't shout at me, I'm taking you to HR. Listen, you should be man enough. You should be man enough to take somebody giving you a bit of criticism. You know.
Right.
Listen,
So you're saying if you don't perform regularly, you're not reaching the standards that you demanded on you, you should be told. Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, you get told for the start, and it's you to you should open. The standards get put to you the minute you come into the club. If you don't know about it, then you'll soon learn about it. It's down to you to apply yourself properly.
Are you saying to me you should get a kick in the Henrys if you don't do your job properly?
Listen, there's a few things that you should be doing. You should be getting if you're not doing your job properly. I think it's time we heard
the Southside Super 6.
Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6 for March the 29th. This weekend we're going for over 2.5 goals. So the first selection is Greenock Morton against Partick Thistle. Second selection is Leeds and Swansea. The third selection is Reading and Peterborough. The fourth selection is Newport and Notts County. The fifth selection is Middlesbrough and Oxford. And the sixth selection is Ebbsfleet against Altrincham. If you take all six for over 2.5 goals, it pays 35.5 to 1.
Standards performance.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Standards, performance and results. The man said it, Jim, no me.
Did I hear you right say Red Fleet, no Baltic Fleet there? I don't want Nigel Marlock phoning in now.
That's your bet, Southside. That's the one you've really hit the bar with, isn't it?
Aye, I should have stuck to that a lot earlier.
Is this the week? Is this the week?
That would be helpful, to be honest, aye.
Right, okay. Good luck, Biggie.
Aye. £33 for Dundee tomorrow.
Aye.
That's what we're paying her.
Tickets are making the headlines down south as well. I see that, there's teams, I think a lot of season tickets have just been put out in some 15, 20% increases in some of the season tickets. I read a Leeds thing. They're saying now that their season tickets have doubled in 4 years. So it's becoming a part that is, to coin a phrase, the cost of living is everything else has been up. Football's been up, but people's wages haven't been up to maybe match it. People having to get the spare cash. It's a factor Southside,
Aye, it's not very often you get a price freeze. I expect the prices to go up in the season book this year. But a wee bit of whatever to put it up, and then we'll see where we go for there. But it's costly because obviously back in the day you used to get your cup games and that through your season book, which helped out. when it was the nonsense of the League Cup games, and you were getting games at Ibrox, and you used to get them, but now you pay for them extra, same as your European package is extra. Scottish Cup games are extra, so...
I think I read that Leeds' season tickets are going to be the same whether there's the same price if they're in the TAP League, it's 19 home games is one, it's that price, and if they don't go up, it's 22 games. Is it 22 games? 44 games in the Championship. 22 games, so 3 games of a difference in same price. So there you go. Interesting. But it's a factor. It's a factor, particularly with people with families, Jim. Yeah.
I was just wondering if any of you had been watching closely the goings on down there regarding the ticket touting. I see Man United are kind of going to town with several hundred, maybe more, regarding the Rangers carry on, passing on tickets for Manchester United memberships. I was reading on about on Follow Forward the other day that guys were actually contacted to the sellers asking them to pass on ID to kind of show who they were, blah, blah, blah. I think Man United are kind of going to town, but I'm interested to see if we get them in the semi-final, what will happen again,
Maybe they'll be more sensible about it and use 20,000 tickets.
Aye, well. Just the 20.
Aye, I know what you mean. Aye, there's always drawbacks and things that I've got a theory on that, but it wouldn't be right if I said it on here. However, but tickets and expenses for families particularly, so say, yeah, it can be a lot of money and people travelling, get travelling costs as well, you know.
Right, it's costly, especially season books for the kids. There's a thing that Man City and Arsenal do. When you get your season book, you've got to make sure that you've been 14 times out of the 18 or whatever it is, 20 games in the season. And if you don't, then you've got the right to withhold your season book when you go to renew it. And you can take it back and give it to somebody else. I spoke to 2 people that have got season books at both teams, and they said, aye, that's correct. That it's something like 18, 19 games. You've got to click your book 14 times of that season.
It's mental, mate, but they just see his customers and they just see his, you know, you rent that seat, mate. That's all I mean, it's mental, especially if you've had the same seat for years, but they can be ruthless, football clubs, you know. But hopefully...
Well, we're in clubs doing ruthless, so they have.
I get it, Jim, big times,
Well, they've been ruthless regarding the front of the Copeland where the Union Bears were. People who have been sat in there for God knows how long. I've had to vacate the premises.
Do you think that's worked? I don't.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, I generally don't think it's worked. I don't think... I get it, you want them to be more involved in the atmosphere, but I generally don't think it's worked at the moment. So, Southside?
It's no worked because I think some of the people in the Copeland, and I know when I'm talking because we've got a pal in the Copeland and he's no too chuffed that they're in there, so there's a few that aren't happy that they're in there. The thing about the seat, Jim, I get it. I've never been sentimental about my seat at Ibrox. I've had a few different ones. So I've never been sentimental about a seat. I've always had it in my head that you're renting a seat off Rangers. I think they were ruthless during the COVID period for a lot of supporters that couldn't maybe have afforded their booking. I know personally a few that actually just lost their booking, and I thought it was disgraceful what Rangers done. But that is what it is, and for the Union Bears, they bring good colour, they bring atmosphere. Sometimes if they probably came in and done a protest and didn't sing, I think you'd probably hear the players, as we've done in the past, when they had a few silence and they walked out, you can hear the players shouting on the park at times in games. So I enjoy them. They've had their moments, good and bad. But they bring an atmosphere to the stadium, because without a group of them or anybody else in the sections at Ibrox, if you put them in the Governor and back in the Brimlin, whatever, they make the noise that creates the atmosphere at the stadium. Without them, or without a group like them, then Ibrox is pretty quiet, let's be honest.
You're 100% there. You say they've done good things and they've done bad things, but it's a football ultra culture, as they say.
Aye, listen, well, we're all young ones, Jim. Well, somebody's still up.
Aye, well.
You know, but aye, listen, I just don't think it's worked, and I get your point about both your points about people moving and also people who were used to people running about them and that, and I think it just the atmosphere seemed to work bizarrely when where they sat on the other end of the pitch. Just my take on it, outside, you know.
The UB when they were up in the Brimlin.
Aye, I thought it actually that it worked better for them, for the atmosphere. Well, worked better than
it did. It seemed to work. The West Enclosure had a bit of the section that would join in, and same as a bit of that side of the main stand. They did involve the top of the section with certain songs and across the section, and they tried to involve the Govan for that section that they were in. So they were a lot louder, I think, for where they were back there, because I think most of the other stands sort of joined in a lot of the time and helped them out in certain games and certain nights and that. But in the Copeland sing, you know, they sing in European nights, not so much. Now and again, you've heard that they have outbursts where you get it in certain games, and same with main stand and enclosures. Sometimes you can get outbreaks of people starting to have songs about the stadium. But Ibrox generally, for most of the games we go to for the league games, is generally quiet. That's how I enjoy the away games, because it's non-stop singing for usually the 90 minutes when you travel away from home.
Anyway, we've been joined by your Bob. Good evening, Bob.
Good evening, boys. How you doing?
Good,
nice to hear your dulcet tones again. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow night. Coming after that dreadful international break, it's been, well, you know what it is, it's totally boring. And I'm looking forward to seeing the boys tomorrow again up at Dundee. Apparently, Mr. Docherty said a dig at us in some shape or form. I don't know what he said, but good luck to him. It's up to us to turn up tomorrow, put in another performance, and get the 3 points.
You're here. Jim.
Evening, Bob. I've not seen it online there, Bob. What is he exactly had a wee go at? Can you elaborate on it?
I can't. That's it. I don't know what he said. But apparently, I'm seeing on YouTube here, I mean, one of the nonsense that floats about that, but apparently it's had a wee go at the Rangers. Why, I don't know. But that's up to him. That's his prerogative. I don't know why. I mean, he's maybe fearful he's coming up here. Eh?
It wouldn't be Docherty, didn't he?
Ah, wouldn't be. No, that's up to him. That's his problem. I just hope we go up here tomorrow, play some good football, carry on where we left off, turn on the performance, beat them, and back down the road.
Yes, I'm getting it, mate. It's basically like having a go because of 2 ounces of water maybe went somewhere.
Aye.
No mentioned all the bottles and the coins and all that came streaming on the park at the same time. That seems to have been erased for history. I wonder why the water.
Well, the boy that runs the local bus up the tune, I'm very friendly, was a mate of mine, and he was telling me the day that we've got 15 gallon of diesel, 10 gallon of acid, and 25 gallon of petrol getting loaded into the luggage rack of the bus for the month. So everybody look out.
Aye.
I never heard such a load of claptrap all the days of my life. But I don't want to dwell on that. That's up to them.
It's comedy gold, mate. It's just so
Fireworks again at James Park there, Bob.
What's that, mate?
Fireworks again at James Park.
But what it is, it's deflect. And people are starting to wake up about this outside, didn't they? They realise.
I said it on the Monday, when we done the show on the Monday. This was just a deflect, Bob J, away for the actual result.
You managed to speak that
you said it to me, so you're right.
That was the event. It was a long Sunday night, Monday morning, and Monday afternoon into Monday evening, wasn't it?
Aye.
Aye, it was, mate. It was.
Mm.
You were lucky you managed to speak. Some days were still out right enough. You know,
Aye.
but but it's so obvious Southside, eh?
Aye. Listen, it's always cheated, never defeated, innit? That mob, and they had to look for something after the defeat, and that's what they brought up, and they've ran with it, and because of international duty, it just sort of grew arms and legs. I've seen somebody bring out one of the Cherny mugs, and I've got a wee picture sent to it, so I might indulge in a few. I'll get you one, Ox. It looked quite good. So, aye, that's what it is, mate. You know, we move on. Butland said we'll look forward to beating them again at Ibrox. That sounded good enough for me. Gets to instill that right attitude and mentality, you know.
Yeah. Jim?
2 weeks later, and the hut is glorious, 2 weeks, and a splash of water. Jeez, oh man.
Aye, it's the biggest crime that's ever happened in that stadium, eh?
Oh.
Yeah, well.
You know, but anyway, well, aye, you're right. We can see right through it. We can see right through it. They want to talk about press conferences. They've got their placement in the media. We can see right through it. Bob Jim, tomorrow night, 5:30, yeah?
Aye.
You know,
That's a nice time of night for a game of football.
Aye, 5:30.
That's the day and age we live in, Ox.
Aye, of course.
And, you know, up there, Dens Park, 5:30, aye. Oh, aye, very good. But as for us, as I say, it's the day and age we live in, and that we've just got to adhere to the demands of television, and away we go. And I hope Rangers can just turn up tomorrow and keep on playing really well at the end of the season. I understand Mr. Cortez might be fit. And
Yes, Southside.
I'd like to think so, Bob J. No, he's had a good sort of time to recover. It was obviously when he'd been away in international duty. I seen him in one of the training videos. So I'd like to think that he'll maybe get a chance tomorrow at some part, coming on as a sub. Because you get to see him. And the same with the boy Fernandez that we've signed sort of on loan with a view to signing him. We'll need to see if he's going to get a game under Barry going forward, or whether he'll just be there at the end of the season and we'll send him back and just no bother with the option to buy, you know.
Doesn't look like it. We've seen him in 2 cameos, then he's just disappeared, didn't he?
Well, he wasn't in the European squad, so that would have curtailed that for any chance of featuring, and obviously then it was sort of them. So,
I don't even think he'd go on the bench, mate, is he?
No, he came on at Ibrox, didn't he?
One
of the games. But he's not been anywhere near it lately, but you'd maybe think going forward, we'll see if he gets a chance at all at any point.
Quick to me, mate, but you couldn't judge him. I mean, let's be honest, one of the performances was against Queen's Park, and he was on the park when we lost the goal, mate. So, but he looked quick enough, but whether he looked comfortable or ready, I don't know, mate. Don't know.
Needs to get some game time with you, didn't he? Or else he'll just get back and we'll not know how good he really was.
Aye, it was good to see Jim. It was good to see Big and Salah getting back on the park at their place. You know, obviously he had a couple of moments where maybe his confidence, because he is a young man, and that's the point the Southside was making earlier. He come on, saw out the game, so hopefully he gets a bit of more confidence back with that.
Well, that would give the boy an almighty boost, you would reckon. Getting that confidence, getting into that cauldron and seeing the game out and the victory at the end. So, aye, it'll take the boy the world a good. Just got his wings clipped, then get put back into it when he was needed. So, aye, I'm sure the boy will get there.
Aye. What do you think? Who would you play if he plays one striker tomorrow, and that's an if, Bob G? Who would you go with? The man that scored the rocket, or would you go with the guy who scored consistently in the last few weeks, Dessers? Who would you go with?
Dessers has not really done anything since Istanbul,
No.
he's no, and he never showed against them in the last game. No, I'm not saying the boy didn't try. Of course he did. But I'd give Yigaman a shot tomorrow night. Start with him and bring Dessers on later on. Because Yigaman's been away on international duty, and, knock in the score there that you can tire a wee bit and bring Dessers on. That's what I would do.
Our players in international duty seem to do all right, sort of get plaudits with Scotland.
Have we got a clean bill of health there, Ox?
I believe so, I hope so. But you never know. Obviously, Raskin get big plaudits with Belgium, Southside, Diamandi. Matondo even managed to score for Wales, didn't he?
He did, aye.
Aye. Did Lawrence get any game time for Wales? I never seen the Wales game.
Don't think so. We might have done, but I don't think so.
I don't know. But I didn't really... I seen about 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the Belgium game and never watched anything else. I think I watched the 15 minutes England game. That was about it. I never really paid much attention. I don't really bother about it. But they all got game time when they travelled away and they're all back. And I think in the last interview, which we heard on Thursday, I think he said there was maybe one or two he would wait to see. So if we've got a full bill of health, I think we might play 2 up front against Dundee. I'd like to think so, but if it's a 1, Dessers might come into the reckoning in his thoughts, maybe just because the man's been away travelling and whatnot and coming back. But it'll be interesting to see him. I'm interested to see if he plays a 4 or if he goes with a 3 at the back. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing when I see the team sheet option the way up to the game.
Jim, some decent performances international duty?
Aye, just be reading on social media. I'm like Southside there, and I'm no to how we doing the international football. It's good for the players getting them recognition and whatever else. But I think on what Barry said, I don't know if it's so much injuries or maybe just tiredness, because he said he was waiting on a couple coming back in and he would see how they were. Here's hoping it's just a bit of tiredness. But their performances, they'll come back and they'll be buzzing. So here's hoping we'll see what we get up there in the water.
Standards, Bob Jones. What about standards, eh?
Well, about standards, I think we've got a world-class player on our hands here in Raskin. Apparently he was man of the match and he came off to a standing ovation. So, and they can be very critical of their team, the Belgians. So, I think they've got a potential superstar on their hands here. And then let him go for next to nothing. If he's going to go down south, get a lot of money for the boy. We didn't want that. We're trying to build a team here with him and Yigaman and Cherney. Trying to build a team here. Let's hear something that we do. But you never know. Money talks. And we're needing money at the moment. Let's take over things, no happen, just for another day.
Aye, it's coming, Bob, Jed. It's coming. It's
coming, definitely. A lot of them are trying to deflect that and all, but it's happening.
But aye, listen, everybody's got a price. I know Southside we can all be a bit, and you never know what release clauses people have got in their contracts, do you? You never know.
No, but I think I don't know what he's left in his contract, maybe 2 years. 2 years. So, look, we don't know what we're going to have a budget-wise, and if there's maybe a daft bid comes in that we have to say aye to. But I'd like to think Raskin would at least do another year, and maybe we could look at it.
For Raskin, then? What's at this moment in time in Europe?
Silly money. Like, if somebody wants to come in and gives 15 million, nearly 20 million for him, then he'll go. But if it's something like 6 million or something, 8 million, I would be saying no, probably, because I'd be thinking, no, could you be an integral part of the team if we can get better players round about you? We're trying to build a squad and we want a really good go at it next season. We want to try and qualify for Europe straight away and then see where that takes us. So, no, I'd like to keep him and build on it, unless that when the new owners come in, they're going to be front-loading it straight away with sponsorship deals to come in, and we'll front-load it and it'll be players that are a lot better quality than Raskin is at the moment. But no, I'd like to think that he'll... Sorry?
I mean, in his position, if he's doing it for Belgium, and let's be honest, Ukraine are on the worst side in the world, you know?
Aye, yeah. Well, he's been onto the stage He'd been in under-21s, and by all accounts, he played as like a number 8, a wee bit further forward for the under-21s in the games that he played, and I've seen a couple. But now he's went in as an anchor role, and listen, by all accounts, he seemed like a standing ovation and all that, and whatever else. And he's put himself on the map, but he's got to keep it going, and he's got to make sure his performances at Rangers are top-notch and all that's going forward. Otherwise, it'll just fall away. So he's announced himself on the map, and like I said, he's done well against was it Ukraine, did you say he played against? Diamondi's been a fixture in his team and all, Ivory Coast, and he's been doing well, and Ignaman's just announced his sale to the Moroccans at international level as well, so it's new for him. So him and Raskin are like in the same position really, just making their debuts at international level, and by all accounts for his wee showcase, Hamza, they were all looking forward to seeing him, and he'll probably go in and be a fixture in that squad going forward as well. So it's good for us, not help when, if they're playing well at Rangers and people want to come in for them, they get some international caps behind them. It helps put the price up a bit.
Jim?
I think it's a no between 5 and 10, and anything north of 10, then I think we'll be dealing, I think. Because I know these guys are coming in, but unless they start pulling ludicrous sponsorship deals and whatever else, but again, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but anything north of 15, for me anyway, then it'll go.
That'd be interesting, mate. Interesting. I mean, his form has been good for us. He's done it in big games. He's been consistent for a few months now. Yeah, he's had the odd blip. Maybe plays well to 9 games out of 10, if you're honest, Bob J. But however, he's hit a level of consistency in a team that's not been consistent, Bob J.
Oh, why? Oh, he's been a shining light, Muscan, especially against them. I'm not going to narrow it all down to them. He's been really good, the boy, good player. And he deserved his international call-up, and his reputation's grown. And like Jim says there, if the boy's going to go, we want a considerable amount of money for him, because there's less of players and him changing hands for big money. So I reckon Nico Raskan could fetch Rangers 20. There you are. I'm not exaggerating. That's how highly I rate the boy. He's a good player. He's a wee workhorse. He can pass the ball well, win possession. Really good player. Once he gets, once his international career, once that elongates a bit, and then he shows his quality, I reckon he could do it on a world stage, Nico Raskan. That's how highly I rate him now, but it's only me.
If he does it in this next European time, he can help drag us through. The sky's the limit, because he has been consistent, Southside. You've got to be fair in the board.
Aye, the only one criticism that I liked was from him was his passing was pretty bad, if you remember at times.
You're still not the best at that, mate.
No, but listen, he's grown into that position, and he's got a good mentor in there now. It's the manager that will help him and knows the position inside out. And he's developed. He's 24 now. So we got him. It was just unfortunate he took that bad tackle against Ajax that set him back for the start of the season. He started well when he first came in the 6 months with Todd Cantwell. And then we're starting to see him grow now, and his performances have been pretty consistent in a team that was changing a bit inconsistent itself. And we're looking for players to come in and start to show that they, even if some of them were playing bad round about them, that they could show up. And he started to show up. And then it started dragging other players to start putting in a performance. So he's there and he's doing well. And like I say, unless it's a really daft bid, I'd like to think that we could keep him, maybe give him an extra extension, because after a year he'll have a year left. So maybe try and tempt him with a 2-year extension, but with a clause in it, knowing that if he wants to go, if he gets another good season out and we get success, then he'll go with best wishes and he'll go to whatever club he picks after us.
Aye. Listen, I think we're just being realistic that, every club's, every crazy money talks on any team, any money, and they want in 2 years' time a prize asset walking away for nothing again, and it's difficult, Jim, innit? If you contradict yourself, you want to keep your best players. You want to sell them as high as possible, you know?
Aye, big time. And I think that's something that we need to get back on again, because the money we've let go over the last 2 to 3 years has been criminal. Absolute criminal. When you think of the players that's walked out of there. Morelos, Kent. I go even as far as saying the Cantwell one and all, away for peanuts. But it's we are where we are. And until these guys come in and we know what we're dealing with, then if there's bids coming in for them, I think they'll be gone. Whether we like it or no.
Man, there's no room for sentiment, but the people have got to plan for people getting injuries. You've got to plan who you go for if one of your key assets move. That's somebody's job at a football club. Always, Bob, Chair.
I won't lie. Definitely. It's all right saying, right, good. We got a big figure for a boy. That's great. That helps the club financially. That's how you help it on the park after it. You know, I mean, they sell that O'Reilly for a colossal amount of money and he can't even get a game. So it just shows you the grass is not always greener on the other side, but money talks. If there's a colossal bid coming in for the boy, Rangers are going to take it. As Jim says, we've got to learn new lessons of letting people walk out the door for next to nothing. We can't let this happen again. We've had quality players we could have had a lot of money for. Jim just named them there, named a few of them anyway. And we've got one here and now, Nico Raskan, and we're going to want as much as we can get because it is coming. Let's face it, the bid is coming for the boy. Leeds United are talking about a huge bid for him. Aston Villa, you know all the clubs, you've read the press, you've seen the details. So don't let the boy walk for next to nothing. Get really good amounts of money for him, and then we'll have to concentrate on who we're going to get in the middle of the park to replace him. That's the difficult bit. The easy bit selling them is the difficult bit's replacing them.
Aye, you're spot on there. Not that I want to sell my best players. Outside that, I get the point you made. You know?
Aye. Listen, we're trying to build a squad here. We've been trying to do it for how long? And I understand that if somebody comes in and it's a bid and he wants to go even, or we can't turn it down, I get it. And it'll give us more money in the kit, you're supposed to go out and buy. But I was just looking at it as, when you're looking sort of through our squad, it's now as much as I want 2 brand new centre-backs in. I believe NCR can be brought through. I believe that we could get money in for Ridvan. We keep Yefty, try and progress him, get another left-back in. And we try and keep a spine of your team. You want Raskin to be there, you want Ignaman to be there, you want Diamandi to be there, and you want to try and grow around about it. But
I think the left back coming in's been signed, mate. There you go. I think the deal's done.
Well, maybe it is. But at the end of the day, we wanted to try and keep these players for a wee bit more time and try and get success, because they're now learning what it's about and they know the demands, they know what's expected. And then suddenly you lose 3 of them right out your squad and you're going to bring in another 8, 9, 10 players. You've got to make sure they get to, and we're starting back again, fresh again. So it might happen that some people might come in and want 2 or 3 year players in the summer and the bids are there and we don't turn it down. But if I had the choice, I'd like to try and keep them there for at least one more season together to have a right good go at competing in Europe and in the league and help it with new players coming into the squad.
When I look at the trading model, Jim, and I look at who you should sell, just on Dessers is 2 years into a 4 years contract, his age. This is the time to sell.
Aye, I think there's a few in that bracket. Again, as Southside said, and I think you said yourself, there's going to be a few walking away at the end of this season, possibly for nothing again, i.e. Lawrence. Who else is ready to go under the contracts now?
Hadji,
well, there you go. They're possibly an international player. 2 international players possibly going to walk away from that.
Cherny will walk away if we don't. Aye, but obviously it's another quality player walking out the door on loan.
It's mental.
We're going to need to replace that type of quality, I'm saying, Jim. No.
Aye. It's mental.
But then, I know they're walking away for nothing, but you couldn't extend their contracts, Hadji Lawrence, because they're not contributing enough, Jim.
Aye, well, you can say that, but again, it's negligence for the club again, allowing these guys to walk out the door for nothing. Whereas you can get half a million.
the two players you mentioned, who was going to sign them the last 2 Mondays? Because I'll tell you now, I would there.
You wouldn't have touched Adji anyway, I know that.
Or Lawrence. He's not been, didn't turn up for his work enough, you know. You know, Hadji's been unlucky that injury he got, freak injury, obviously was pretty. It took him a long time to go it, and I don't know if he ever will. You know, he was never the quickest. I think he's not quite get back to even where he was, in my opinion. I think he's never been one of my favourite players. I've never said he's a bad player. I get Southside that he's got ability, I see that. But when he goes missing, mate, he goes missing completely. You know?
Aye, I get it. But I still think he's a skillful player. He can use his 2 feet. He contributed. He's done a lot more in the Rangers jersey in his time than Tom Lawrence and Matondo and Dowell and all these chancellors that have came into it. Well, Tom Lawrence, I gave him my benefit of doubt. He took a bad injury. I thought he was the right type of quality player to come out at the right age. But we've got money to come in for them, along with who else is down there? Said Dowell, who's in Ben Davis. Hopefully, Ben Davis. Hopefully, you get Matondo. I'd imagine Tav will probably go at the end of the season and all. So there's a lot there that'll get replaced, and I still think Ridvan will go as well. So there's plenty there that should go. Bizrami, question mark on him. Danilo, another one, question mark on him. Probably, I would say, if somebody wants to come in and take him, I'd let him go. And then there's a conundrum, as we'll talk about, Dessers, 42 goals or 44 goals in 2 seasons.
But what I'm saying, his age, and do you let him run, and then he gets next year, then your assets diminishing. Is this the time to sell him? Does that make sense, Bob?
Oh, it makes sense to me. You've got to take in the age factor of the boy. And didn't forget, the club, as we all can, the club's going to go through a monumental transformation. We're speculating here about who might go and who might stay. You don't know. I do believe there will be a few that are going out the door. You've just spoke about a lot of them. But it's who comes in. Again, as you say, replacing these players, get the side up to standard, to set a challenge in this league. What we've got today, we can't have another season like this year. Just can't. We'll go to challenge and be better away from home next year. So we'll see what happens in the summertime when this transformation develops. That's all in the melting pot and for Rangers. It's going to be a monumental summer for them. The football's not going to go away this summer, boys, I can assure you. No, as far as Rangers are concerned, anyway. But yeah, there could be a. I don't think Tierney will go. I think they'll come to a deal with Tierney. I really do, and I hope so. As I said 10 minutes ago, and we're trying to build a team, no selling. Yeah? But there are some of them, like you say, like Lawrence and Hadji, etc. They're not going to make the grade. They're better.
No, you've got to get them after wage bill. You know, it's all right. It's no that you're all right. Ideally, you'd have got some money for the two of them last summer, and we never. But I don't know if you think the same, Southside. I couldn't have seen anybody. They might have took them on loan, but I don't think they would have stumped up money to take them.
No. Listen, we've changed managers a few times, and managers have picked some, and some played some, and haven't, and some will be part of your plans, and some aren't. Tom Lawrence doesn't have the pace of that. He's a decent player, but he's no for us. It's just no worked out for him, unfortunately. And he gets quite a chunky wage, and he'll go, and it'll free it up for somebody else. And Matondo in it. If you look at the amount of starts and performances he's had since we signed him, he's another one. Kieran Dowell, I did think, might have come in and done something when we first signed him, but injury again blighted him. And then when he did get games, either played out of position or played in the position, but no played very well and been a disappointment. He is. That's the thing. He is getting good reviews down there, but it sort of surprised me. But maybe the jersey was too big for him. Maybe he couldn't handle the pressure. I don't know. But I'm glad that he's doing well down there, because hopefully that they'll want to sign him, or he'll get noticed down there and another club will come in and take him, and Ben Davis also. So
in the press today, mate, the managers making noises about signing them in the summer. So we'll see where that takes us. Get their money back and maybe better if they want them. Not bad. But aye, it's going to be an interesting summer, as you see, Bob Jerry.
Absolutely. I hear, I listened to a wee bit of the show last night, and I heard the old bear saying he was right. There's a lot of American interest in your game now. It's going to supposedly make these people a bit stronger. Or none of them is going to win the league, but they're going to be a bit stronger, and it's going to be a bit more competitive. So we've got to get it right in the summer, get the right people on, the new manager. Might be Barry, you don't know, you don't care. There's no speculation. A lot of speculation surrounding the club at the moment. And we'll just have to wait when the dust settles to see what we've got. But, aye, going to be an interesting summer. Anyway, I'm going to take the dog out and I'm going to give him a drink of water now, if that's all right.
All right, with me, Bob Jerry, carry on.
You've got the pun ox. I know you wouldn't miss it. Mate. All the best, boys, and all the best to the Gers tomorrow.
Cheers, Bob Jer. Thanks for the
call. Right, Bob, don't spill what about Bob the police and what?
That's what I'm going to. Oh no, I've got his water bottle there. I don't even want to get arrested.
Watch that water; it can be deadly, Bob.
Oh, I'm going to give him a hand to load the cyanide into the bus. Right, I'll catch you later. Bye bye.
Right, mate.
You've got to watch that. I've not been able to fill the kettle up in case I hurt myself.
By the way, what are we going to do at what are we going to do at Celtic Park tomorrow afternoon?
I'm waiting.
Well, the forecast is for heavy rain in the East End. What's going to happen?
Don't like getting wet, do they? In the shower. Anyway, we've reached that time in the evening. Just before we go, quick prediction for the 2 years, Jim.
I'll go 2-1 Rangers.
Oh, South Side, have a word.
Yeah, come on, what's this? 2-1, carry on goals against the Rangers. Here, you've not done your homework, Jim. 2 or 3-0.
I'll go for a 3, mate. I'll go for a 3. There you go.
Aye, why not?
Why not? Listen, last word for your good self, Jim, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Aye, it's been great. And I hope you have enjoyed myself as well. I'm a wee bit disappointed there's not been a lot of callers. I hope I've not put them off.
No, not at all, mate. Me and Southside do that every week, don't we, Southside?
Aye, that's easy.
But all of you see the best odds in the Super 6 tonight, mate.
Aye.
Well done, mate. Well done. Enjoyed your company.
Thanks very much. No problem, guys. Thank you.
Just hang on for a minute. Southside, over to you.
Aye, no, thoroughly enjoyed the night. Been on with Jim. Well done, mate. Enjoyed your company and talked well, as always. Aye, looking forward to tomorrow. All roads lead to Dundee. I think we've got a roll call at 3:20 or something tomorrow. And then all roads lead up there. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting the 3 points. I'm sure the Bears will be loud and proud. And back to watching the Rangers now after international nonsense. So I'd like to thank everybody out in the YouTube channel and all that participated. Somebody's asked me for a Grand National tip.
Next week, mate.
Next week. We'll maybe have a look at something for next week. So just remember the clocks go forward on Saturday. And it's Mother's Day to people out there that still got their mother. So don't forget to get your present. So thanks for having us on, Ox, as always. And as usual, there's only one team and one crown.
Yes, thanks to Bob Jeff for joining us, Jim for joining us and made his debut, doing the full show. Great to hear from Jim and your good self. So just a quick housekeeping for the people who are listening to our archives and Facebook. Facebook have changed their setup and some of the old shows are disappearing when they're more than a month old. It's not the day with us. It's just what's happening. You can still get them in MixLR or YouTube if you want to listen to some of the old shows. Because there's some classics out there that people take out now and then. Because we still get comments from people, bizarrely, but brilliantly as well. Listen, thanks to everybody for listening. Rangers Radio will be back tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 with a pre-match show as we build up to another victory away to Dundee. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the match. Take it away, old school boy.